All right, welcome to another wonderful episode of Batman Radio, folks. How's everybody doing? All right, give me a minute here. All right, so like I said, the master magician concept is going to be um, kind of my focus a little bit, part of my focus. Like I said, I've pretty much mastered the training, the calisthenics. I've pretty much mastered 52 blocks in martial arts, literally. But like I said, we have a lot more learning to do and a lot to expand on still, in my opinion. But I made a lot of progress really quickly. You know, and like I said, that's the thing. Like, me, I'm always trying to, push the envelope farther. You know what I mean? I'm always trying to, push myself, and I'm just very determined and very ambitious. You know what I mean? So, with me, I don't know. I don't, I don't know. I mean, it's just been beautiful, man. It's been amazing. I've made a lot of progress. Like I said, um, just went through some serious stuff, serious things, and bounced right back. Um, I really just feel like it's God's plan. I really just feel like, God is wants me to. I mean, I just think he's building Batman personally. That's the thing. I'm a great witness to it. Like that one lady was saying, like when the Holy Spirit is working within you, you're a witness to it all, and you're a witness to the works that God does. And it's honestly unexplainable in words. So with me, I just keep on going. Keep on moving forward. It's incredible. It truly is incredible. It's always been incredible. You know what I mean? I'm a real chosen one. That's why you see I stay to myself. Honestly, like I said, crowds ain't really my thing no more. I've been through too much. It just ain't. I would try to work on it, of course, at some point, but you know, everything is about my calling, man. Everything is about the fact that I'm in complete alignment. You know what I mean? Um, but this master magician concept is going to be the next thing I push, and it's very real. And it has a lot to do with it. And that's the thing. I'm trying to learn every little perspective and aspect of this, and really build it all. I'm building it in front of everybody, and God is building me. You know what I mean? It's not even so much me building, it's God building. It's both. We're working together and we're building, you know what I mean? But God is really building me. Um, and like I said, that's the whole thing. I got to be the greatest martial artist of all time. I got to be the best in the world, completely. There can't even be a discussion. It can't even be, up for debate or a negotiation. And that's what God told me. God told me to become completely undeniable. So, you know, I don't know. We all have different goals. My goals are a little bit different. My goals are definitely expansive and on another level. And the thing is, they're all possible. They're not just possible, they're happening in front of everyone. They're happening in front of your eyes. They're completely feasible, you know, because again, with God, anything is possible. So for me, I'm just going to keep on pushing. I'm going to keep on moving forward. I'm going to keep on doing what I need to do. Keep on focusing on myself, focusing on God, and moving. You know what I mean? And it's just that simple. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I absolutely love it. You know what I mean? I absolutely love it. We are on a whole different vibration. Like I said, I move in a vibration of love. You understand? Again, we are going to make money every single day. We are going to progress. Okay. We are going to succeed. We are going to continue to push forward. And it's just that simple, man. Everything over here is just 100% official tissue and legit. You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, like I said, let me tell you that updated amount for the next check, too. Hold up. So yeah, the updated amount, we already at over 196 bucks. Isn't that crazy? Over $196 for that next check. We stay moving, and like I said, all we do is make money over here. You understand? So again, like I said, you know, this is all business here. This is all official business, five-star business. This is my business. This is my company. I'm building everything from the ground up. Everything is running in front of you. How do you feel? I really would like to know. How do y'all feel? You know what I mean? Because I've been winning for a long time. I've been winning forever. This ain't new. All I do is win. How do you feel? How does it feel watching me succeed nonstop? I would love to know. Please tell me. Please tell me how it feels that, I just keep on progressing nonstop, just like I said I would, and just like I told all of you I would. Please tell me how that feels. Please tell me how it feels when I resurrect in front of you and nothing and nobody can stop me or my destiny. Yeah, like I said, I'm the real thing. You understand? That means that all this training and all my hard work, it was never in vain. It all goes into what's being built here, what God is building, which is the kingdom of God for one, and building Batman for the entire future. Because, like I said, I have a very, I chose a very hard path, but obviously it also is worth it. You know what I mean? That's why I chose it because and it makes perfect sense. It's almost like I remember doing it, somehow in my mind or something or my subconscious. It's almost like I remember doing it. Like that sounds like me, like the choice I would make. Like, what's the hardest path to walk? Like it's literally like I'm having flashbacks of this. Like what's the hardest path? Like we all choose our path. I think that makes sense. I truly believe that to an extent. And you know, I don't even know about to an extent. I mean, I believe that. I think it makes sense, a lot of sense. You know what I mean? So I don't know everything, but I think that's what I would say. I think I would say, what's the hardest path that you can choose? And they would say, well, this is the one over here in the corner that nobody wants to do. And I'd say, well, why not? What comes with it? What's the prize? It's obviously clearly worth it would be my first thought. So what is it? And they probably say what it is. Like if you could get through it all and get through all the challenges and obstacles, well, you're gonna be Batman. You feel me? Can you imagine that? And knowing me, I'd be like, wait a minute, you telling me that all these other paths, are just normal careers, normal folks, normal stuff. And they're like, yeah, these are the easy one. I don't want the easy one. I want the hard one. That's be my first reaction. Give me the hard one. I want the hard path. You understand? That's just how I am. You know what I mean? Because and much less because I know not only because but also because I know that the reward is going to be greater. So that's what God told me. He chose me because I'm the only one who would keep going. The only one. You know what I mean? So it's like you know, it's crazy to me. I want to make jokes about it sometimes, but it's like all these things that have happened and are happening. I truly believe it is God. As hard and impossible as some of these things are, like what I'm bouncing back from right now. I feel like it's part of God's plan still. And that's what I've been trying to teach folks. So I'm trying to teach folks the truth that, nothing here is easy. If you want something, like I said, I've been saying this forever, for decades, man. Anything of value takes sacrifice. And everything I ever studied and every time I ever sat down and did research or anything I was doing, it was for a reason to get ahead. Like that's part of the problem, like in Austin, because like in Austin, honestly, what I want to do for me personally is like I like to read. I want to read. I want to sit down. I want to relax. I want to go where I want to go. I want to mind my business. I want to do my own thing. And there's just so much going on in the streets, and me, I'm on foot walking, and I got to take the bus and stuff, and like you can't even get on the bus without it being a whole thing. because everybody's feeling the way that they're feeling, or they're doing this or that, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's honestly crazy. You know what I mean? It's honestly crazy, you know what I mean? So it's like, for me personally, I don't know, like, I don't know. I want things to be easier, man. I want it to be easier than it was in the past. Like, I don't know. I'm sure, like, it's kind of the same environment. Like, I know I'll be good anywhere, but at the same time, like, from what I'm hearing and seeing on the news, things have changed a lot. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because some folks was saying that, and I didn't know if what they were saying was true or not. But like what I've seen so far, it's changed a lot. Like, it's not that it's just changed a lot. It's clear what's happening in Austin. You know what I mean? It's very clear. And that's what I'm saying. That's like, as well, like, that's basically Gotham, This is for now, but Austin is like, literally the modern day Gotham, literally. And I mean, like I said, everything, the parking garages down to every little detail of it is kind of set up the way that it's conveyed in these depictions. So it's literally staged for Batman to come in, but I need the money. And that's what folks have to understand. And with the money and with the funds, because of the power I have and the strength that I have, that the strength that God has given me, um, I can effectively dismantle not only the entire corrupt system, but I can dismantle and put a stop to all this evil. I can literally dismantle, as I already have. I put illegal organizations out of business for a living. It's my purpose, part of it, as well as I save lives and I save people and I help people. And just, the honest truth is that I know I can do it. I can literally, but I can put these illegal organizations out of business. Okay. But I need the money. That's all I need. I need the money. I need the finances so that I have everything in front of me of which I need, and the ability to go purchase and buy whatever I need to, to be Batman. It's clear as day. Like I said, I mean, I told you, I need computers, I need laptops. I'm going to need some kind of facilitated spot up there at some point, and that's going to be the hardest part because the living cost is too high. You know what I mean? And I can't do it the way that I've operated in the past. I can't do it no more, and they've already made it harder and harder, and I know they're going to make that impossible. So I can't be walking around out there all night. I already know it's not the same. It's not going to work. The last time I went on a trip there, it wasn't a good idea and it didn't really work. And it was very difficult because I was out all night and I had nowhere to go, and you can't even sit down on a bench because they're always paying attention. That's the problem. They really do that stuff. They drive around and they're monitoring and looking, and they probably already know I'm Batman because all these people are concerned about what I'm doing. And you can just see it. Like I said, like, even just going to that breakfast, I could see what they was doing. They kept circling around, and that wasn't coincidence. So, I've already been through that in Austin. I've seen what it is. I know how it works. You know what I mean? That ain't no surprise. I'm not really worried or concerned about it, but it's just a matter of, it's not the old days no more. I ain't trying to be, walking around all night. And I mean, it's not going to work for what I'm doing, and Batman is probably going to be moving around and doing what he do at night for sure, and in the peak hours of the morning, because if you do your research and you know anything about what we do, I study behavior, I study criminals. Okay. And the peak hours of the morning is what window and what time? 3, 4 a.m. Those are the peak hours of the morning. That's when a lot of stuff happens. If you study this stuff like I do for a living, you understand? So it's like, at this point for me, I'm just trying to really, really focus. I don't have time for any distractions. I have a job to do, and I'm going to go ahead and completely focus on my job and my career. And I think that that's the best thing, that I could ever say, and best decision I could ever make. And I know that it came from God. So, I'm not wasting no time. That's the thing. I see so many people, like Christmas, they're like, I'm going to a Christmas party. I mean, that's fine. I'm not. Nobody invited me, and it's all good. You know what I mean? It's always like that. You know what I mean? Not always, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, usually, is it really any good news anyway? Not really. So it's like, for me, I'm not wasting no time. I'm not trying to just, I would love to have a vacation. I would love to party a little bit. I'd love to have a little bit of fun, but my definition of partying is pretty basic. There's not much to it. You know what I mean? So it's just normal stuff, So I mean, I would love to go out and have a good time, but we got to get to that point, But my point is that's not what I'm here for. In other words, I'm not here to party. I'm here to focus and stay disciplined and stay determined and keep on figuring out how to build this. I'm still need to do a lot of research for this other stuff to see what I can come up with. Like I said, I want to be able to build all this stuff myself, the bat pods, the tumblers, engines, everything. You know what I mean? Like I said, when I get the money, I can go take that class in Boston for the metal shaping. If I had the funds, I would be able to purchase the machine that they have there that allows you to do the metal shaping, and then I can build the frames for my own cars and my own vehicles. I'm not playing about any of this. If I had the money, I could purchase 3D printers. I can start with one, work my way up, learn the system because I learn everything from scratch. I'll read the manuals, I'll do research, I'll figure out how they work. And, then you just look at, the composites and the materials and what you're using for whatever you're creating, right? So then I could use that to create, Batman masks, everything. You know what I'm saying? So it would help me with the suits. And I don't want it to only be that. I want to actually build my own suits. I'm trying to figure out if there's a way to create something with like titanium and aluminum alloy where it's woven like yarn, like a fabric, but it's woven. It's a kind of a crazy concept. I don't know if anybody's ever thought about it, but I do believe it's possible. But I think I know one of the processes that I would have to know how to do it, and that's why I need money because I may need, a team or help to do some of these things. Some of the stuff I don't want to do just because, like, I want to take care of myself and preserve myself. I got to be on bat pods. I got to be able to move and do what I'm doing. So, definitely try to be about self-preservation, as crazy as that sounds with everything I've been through. Um, but I just see God moving. I see God at work. I see God building everything. And it's just absolutely incredible. You know what I'm saying? I've come a long way, man, like real, real long way. I'm so proud of myself. It's unbelievable. You know what I mean? Again, give me a round of applause. So for me, like I said, just need the help of the public, man, need support, you know what I mean? And like I said, I've done it with God this entire time. Um, God has, made it to where some people will help a little bit. I just hope that that continues. I don't hope. I know it's going to continue, and I think God is going to, make it more and more prevalent. I mean, He told me a wave of support would come in, and He's done so much for me. I mean, I can never thank God enough. Literally, that's the honest truth. And if I have it my way, I'm just getting started. You know what I mean? It's not my plan, it's God's plan, but I know God chose me for a purpose. I have, you know, people that tell me straight up, God chose you for a very important purpose. Like people see my calling. People see it's not a game. People see what I'm doing. They know it's real. They know I'm chosen by God. I mean, so it's a very powerful thing. You know what I mean? And it's very real. And like I said, that's the thing for me. I was never looking for fame, still am not. I was never looking for any kind of reaction or anything like that. I did this because I needed to do this for me. I did this because God, chose me to do it. I didn't ask for this. God called me to do this. That's why every time when they depict it, they show that floodlight coming out with the bat symbol, and they show, what's his name? What's his name? Um, Always mix his name up. Y'all know who I'm talking about. What is his name, man? Dean Keaton, right? At like Every time I say his name, man, it reminds me of a bad memory of someone else's name in the past who was against me and stuff. But point is, did I even say that right? Not Dean Keaton. That's a street. What am I thinking? What is his name? I'm trying to think. Y'all know who I'm talking about, man. Help me out. Who the hell? What is his name, bro? Dean Keaton. What is that? It? No, it's something like that. I don't know. Y'all know, as in Michael Keaton? I think it's Michael Keaton, something like that. But I always be mixing his name up. But him, they show him and he look up, and it's nighttime and he look up and you see that big floodlight with the bat symbol. And you could see it in his eyes. He get that look and he stand right up, and that's exactly how it is. You know what I mean? And like that's the thing. I got called to do this for real. I got called by God to do this. And I mean that, completely. I mean, that's a fact. You know what I mean? And it's exactly like that. Like, God calls and I hear and I stand up and I come moving. I move because of God. I move for God. So it's a real thing, man, and it's just it's amazing. It's amazing to see it, much less live it. Is the craziest thing. So again, I'm living my dreams every day. I couldn't be thankful or thank God enough, honestly. Like I mean, to do this and be Batman has been my dream since I was a little kid. It's been my dream probably in all of eternity in my entire life. That's what folks don't get, and I said that on camera on here. So I'm living my dreams every day. That's what a lot of folks, aren't doing, and they may not understand or comprehend. But I'm living my dreams every single day. So I mean, imagine how happy I am. So I was meant for this. You know what I mean? Like I know I was meant for this. I was born to do this. You know what I mean? So it's like you know, I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, I just keep on working on getting stronger and stronger and smarter and expanding. It's just crazy the concepts that God keep teaching me one after the other. They keep coming to me. I don't ask for nothing. Okay. The next one now, right, is old teachings. They be talking about different components. I don't want to name them all on here. And quite frankly, I'm kind of not trying to give game for free anymore or at all. Another message God sent me was about that, and I'm gonna listen to that. And it was about secrecy, meaning silence. There's a lot of power in silence. So I'm kind of not really in the business of talking too much anymore, giving secrets away. I mean, not that I'm keeping secrets, but just when it come to knowledge, man, game is to be sold, not told, homie. And some game just you should keep to yourself because it's power. And that's why if you ever notice when they all the depictions when they show and talk about Batman, he always looks like he's not trying to say a word. Have you ever noticed that? Because that's the power. Does that make sense? See, you're not understanding. You're looking at ancient knowledge here, esoteric knowledge. You're seeing it happen in front of you and actually be practiced and put into play in a real world environment by a genius. You know what I mean? Because God is the one teaching me it all. So the way I feel is like whatever God want me to do, He's gonna give me the ability and tools to do it and show me how to do it. So if He's teaching me these different principles, right, and me just saying the word principles should let you know a little bit of what they're talking about. Okay, but this is ancient stuff I'm looking into and researching, and I'm not even having to research. He's bringing it to me. Do you understand? So I mean, he's teaching me power. I mean, he be showing me stuff about Machiavelli. Got a lot in common with him. What's really, kind of scary to me and surreal is that I look a lot like the depictions of Machiavelli, the actual Machiavelli, not Tupac. I'm talking about Machiavelli looks like me. And it's another thing I've been thinking about. I'm like, because I know I reincarnated probably a lot of times. And I keep looking at these different individuals. I'm like, what if I really was some of these people or one of them? Like, it almost feels like it was more than one too, but that's what I'm saying. Like Machiavelli was one of the, biggest characters in all of history. He's kind of underrated. People don't talk about him too much, but Machiavelli was about as similar to Batman as you can possibly get. And he was like he was like an actual Dracula, is how they described and depicted it. So, that's kind of scary for one, but it also makes me wonder and think, because what if Machiavelli, I don't know much about it. I got to read and I'm going to start researching it. It's going to be my next, project to look into actually is Machiavelli. But what if everything he did, what if he wasn't a bad guy? What if he was, doing the right thing? That's what folks don't get. Like God operates through righteousness. Okay. What people don't understand is true justice is true justice. Okay. It just is what it is. It's not always pretty. True justice is true justice. It's got to be equal. There has to be balance and justice restored. This is what folks don't get. See, the difference between you and I, all you folks out there, is you want to do everything with a safety harness. You get what I'm saying? With your your rubber ducky and your floaters on. You get what I'm saying? Real talk. That's the way you want to do things instead of just taking the risk and doing the real thing and living real life. Tell me when I'm lying. You don't have the heart to walk in my shoes or walk my walk. That's why y'all like to sit there and type or comment or whatever, because you know that you don't have it in you. You don't got the heart. It's like Mike Tyson said, you couldn't walk a millisecond in my shoes. You ain't got the heart to walk into my world. Y'all don't. Not for a millisecond, bro. I do this every day, man. I'm training almost every day. I'm diligent. I'm disciplined. God is creating the super ninja to go inside these new bat suits. I hope you understand that. This is real. I'm a real ninja. I'm a real samurai. This is what folks ain't getting and don't want to talk about. So when the money comes and the opportunities and the doors open up, it's going to give me ability for different places to train as well. And it's going to give me more leniency and leeway with the training so I can do more, right? And, as far as on camera for here, I'm going to keep it pretty simplistic and not push the envelope too far because, I love what I do and I'm going to protect my business. But I'm just saying, behind, closed doors, I'll be able to do a lot more. So you got to understand, I'm trying to build my own dojo, my own martial arts school where I like really practice though and do all the real stuff because I'll have the money to purchase and buy whatever I need to practice and train and try it all out. Because you got to understand, I am the prophecy, I am the depiction. So if you know anything about Batman, well, then I ain't got to even explain it to you because you should already know what I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? There's different components of Batman. There's a lot. You got the utility belt. You got what else? Think. Use your mind. There's a couple of different components to it, right? A lot of it is kind of connected to this concept of the master magician. This is what I'm saying. People got to understand. While other folks waste their time and they get Taco Bell and sit there and want to do live streams every day talking about nothing until they realize they're never going to get paid or make any digital money. Yeah. Some folks like to sit in a Roach Motel room doing nothing. Oh man. So while they're doing that, nothing and not progressing or making any progress, they're all just stagnated and in the same spot and place, which is usually how it always is. Um, I keep on putting this together. So it's going to be chapter by chapter, it's going to be just different parts of it being built in front of you, and I have to do a lot of research. I have to do a lot of studying. Like that's what I do. I'm a student, man. I'm a student of the game. That's what people understand. I'm a diligent student, so that's why folks don't get. I'm totally humble. I'm humble as it gets, man. I'm confident, but I'm humble, because I'm a student of the game. I'm learning from God every day. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. What greater teacher could you have than God? Please tell me when I'm lying. Please tell me when I'm wrong. And that's why when people be talking, I don't even be listening to a word they saying because it's all irrelevant to me. You understand? Because you can't teach me anything. God teaches me. You understand? And that's powerful. That's real, and that's about as powerful as it gets. And that's why he's created, I'm a master at a lot of things, and I'm mastering it more every day. And that he's created a hell of a teacher. We got to get real, and a hell of a motivational speaker. You know what I mean? I'm a healer. I can really teach people. I'm a divine being. I'm a whole lot of things, and that's the thing. I'm a student of the game. I'm not here to be on that energy the way Bruce Lee depicted it. Like, he said you can be this way and do all these fancy moves, and you can act. He'd talk a certain way too. He'd move his mouth a lot when he talked. He said, and you can act this way, and you know what I mean. But when it comes time to, that's the way he talked, because he was explaining to you like he really believed it. Like when it comes time to really do the real thing and train, and you know what I mean? Like it's totally different. Like you have to be humble. Like your ego doesn't even enter the equation. If you let go of your ego, you become limitless. This is what people don't understand. That's why I think the world's funny, because I look at the world and the world gets farther and farther and farther and farther and farther and farther away from God. Farther and 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 farther away from the destination. Tell me when I'm lying. And that's why them folks is looking at me. How did you do it? I'm showing you how I'm doing it. To an extent, you can't see everything because God's teaching me. God is leading the way. You understand? I'm a student. I'm the vessel. You understand? So that's the thing. Like you talking about trying to compare an actual ninja and a samurai who's disciplined and take this craft and what I do serious, and I master it and I work at my craft, and compared to what? People on a TV screen? Would a samurai ninja feel compelled or feel that he has to prove anything to regular commoners? Of course not, brother. This is the part they don't understand. That's the whole essence of the sport. That's the whole essence of, martial arts. It's spiritual. The first thing they teach you is if you got to run, run. It's different. It's not the same. When you're the real thing and real deal, you ain't worried about a TV screen. You're not worried about views. A lot of you folks, you need to put the phone down. I'm on the phone a lot because I have to be, you know what I mean? And I need it. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad I am, but not like y'all. I ain't filming every little thing for no reason, or just, oh, let me just do this. Y'all just always got to put that camera on. I don't understand that, because I do this for a living and y'all have your camera on more than me. Isn't that crazy? People who don't make a dime on social media, they got their camera on way more than I ever do. Isn't that crazy? You know what I mean? Like I focus, man. I research, I study, like, you know what I mean? I want to do everything the right way. You know what I mean? I'm real careful about my energy though. I protect my energy. You know what I mean? That's the thing, like with anything, you know what I mean? So with me, I know what I'm doing, man. Trust me. I know what I'm doing. And that's the thing. I was always like this. I always worked at my craft. While other people worried about money and this and that and their fake positions and fake titles, your job means nothing. I need to say that loud and clear, because I was thinking about that earlier and God put that on my mind. Your job and fake career means nothing. I hope you people understand that. It doesn't make you who you are. It doesn't mean you're above anyone. It doesn't mean you're better. It doesn't mean anything. In fact, most of y'all's careers, I mean, are not careers that are any good or anybody would want to do anyway if they was really progressing and building themselves. Oh man. Oh, Merry Christmas Day and they feeling. Oh man. That's too funny. Wow. Yeah, that one was too funny. Um, but yeah, no, I talked to Christina today. I think she's doing a little better. She's trying to get involved. I can tell she's just, she's been through a lot. She's going through a lot. She went through a lot. So, but yeah, she's trying to talk a little bit, and she just tells me she loves me, and she's in full support of everything I'm doing. So I'm just glad she's okay, because for a while there I hadn't heard nothing, and that was, really, really concerning. Um, but Christina is my first priority. But like I said, man, I stay disciplined. Um, I'm a real ninja. Like I said, a real samurai. It's just different. We're not the same. That's the thing y'all don't get. The minute I get the money, I mean, everything I'm going to be doing, I mean, I'll have it on some kind of outlet. A lot of it probably, I'll probably have, real cameras and be filming everything and doing different demonstrations for the public. Like, I don't think y'all get it. Like, I'll go to China or Japan to do this stuff. I'll go to Hong Kong. I'm not joking. I'd like to go on a boat and make sure there's, like, life rafts and other smaller boats on there in case anything happens. But I would love to go do the real thing. As scary as it would be for me, it would be terrifying for me. I'm not gonna lie. It'd be terrifying, but I don't do planes. That's something I refuse to do. And like hell no. I won't do no planes. I don't care what no one tells me, I'm not doing it for nothing. I wouldn't care if they said we got $80 million over here. All you got to do is take a flight. I'd say nope. I'm all right. I'd rather be a little more in control, and actually know how reality works than most people. Real talk. I just won't do it straight up, But yeah, I'll go on a boat, like a cruise or something, and make sure it's comfortable if we had the money, But like I said, they better have some other boats. I'd ask questions. I'd make sure that they understand that I have money and that, like, I need to make sure that I'm safe, and Christina and I are safe. That's how I would do it. I'd tell them straight up, look, I don't, what do I got to do? Because I need to know that there's other smaller boats, what I mean, and that we good no matter what. That's what I need. You know what I'm saying? Like real talk. I wouldn't care if I had to, whatever I got to do the right way to make sure that we're okay. But my whole point is I'd go in a boat, but I would really do it, man. I would love to go to like Hong Kong and meet the actual monks and stuff and train with them like every day for a minute. That's what y'all don't get. Like I'm trying to do the real thing, brother. I'm trying to basically, become a monk. So that's what y'all got to understand. That's why I'm already doing the conditioning for the knuckles, for the wrists, for the hands. You know, um, kind of forgot to do it just recently, but I'll remember it. It's just on and off, man. But I really be working on this stuff. I don't know if y'all understand, and it's not easy. It's not easy at all. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Everybody wants to use the safe approach for everything. What I believe is there is no safe approach. I think you just have to do it. I think it's tough, and I think the tougher it is, I think the tougher you become. And I mean, of course, you want to do it somewhat conservatively. You want to do it the right way, of course. But I just think you got to be tough. That's why it's not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? But, with me, I look at it as far as I've come. I still look at it like I've got a lot to learn. But I mean, you can't tell me that in this country, in America, the stuff I'm doing on them dip bars with them lifts, you can't tell me that it doesn't resemble what them monks do, because it does. It's about as close as it gets to what they do. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like, stuff like that. That's the direction I'm going. Like real power. I'm looking into studying how to levitate. Like, I really believe these things are possible. Levitating, what else? Telekinesis, imagining, what was it? It's like the tetrahedron, all that stuff, bro. What do you think these people study? You understand? What do you think they study? What do you think, esoteric knowledge is? They tried to hide a lot of this knowledge, man. People, I heard some dude I was around the other day, he started bringing up Tartaria and the ice wall. I'm like, yeah, that's the stuff that we talk about. You know what I mean? And I understand these are public concepts that are getting discussed, but I mean, the truth is, I mean, that's awesome if you're into it. That's all I'm going to say. That's totally awesome, but this is really my calling, and I want to really look into that. There's a whole lot of things I want to look into, but it's not like I'm just gonna, hop on a cruise and just go overseas right away. Nah, I want to accomplish a lot in this country first. I have a lot I want to do. That's the thing. And I want to go to New York. I just want to live life, man. Especially after what I just went through. You know what I mean? It really was a wake up call again. Not that I necessarily needed one, but it was a wake up call as in, I'm always, I cherish every minute I have. You know what I mean? Real talk, because I've been through a lot of things and I've survived the impossible time and time again, and I just did again. And I cherish life, man. I'm really appreciative, bro. I'm not like other people who take things for granted. I don't. I really cherish life. I love life. You know. So for me, I want to make the most of it like I do every day. That's what I do. Every day is a celebration of life, you know. They already told me basically, I mean, I should be able to rebuild. I mean, God, said he's going to prove regeneration is possible through me. Um, So, I mean, I should be able to heal and rebuild. It's different, and I keep hearing stories of those athletes, and we all know what they really are. Let's get real. But my point is, and they don't get paid. They're not rich. It's all fake. But my whole point is, I keep seeing and hearing these stories of what these athletes go through, after they have their careers and stuff, and it's not good, man. It's really not good, bro. So then y'all wonder why I'm not on the TV and why I'm not doing these things and competing in front of everyone on the TV. That's why, because God is protecting me. You understand? Like my future matters, my health matters, my body matters. I mean, like that's why I always looked at it that way too. I was like, these opportunities that are closed doors and stuff, it's God protecting me. I could see that because it's not good to have that career for so long. And that's the thing. That's what they do in Vegas. They give you a bunch of smoke and mirrors and fake stuff, maybe let you work around with some fake money, and then you think you made it because that's how naive people are. People think they made it because they talked to a couple of so-called rappers or fake musicians. They sold their soul. I mean, what are you going to gain from it other than the same thing? They're going to encourage you to sell your soul. That's how the world works, brother. See, people want to tell themselves something different, but I know how corporate America works because I've been studying it for years and I've experienced everything firsthand. What do you mean? My aunt is Carly Fiorina, bro. You know what I mean? I've explained everything that's transpired and happened. So I'm a survivor for real. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's not confusing. I see the world as what it is, and these people know that I've figured everything out. I understand the system. I know it like the back of my hand. It's a joke. It's all evil. You understand? So that's why I look at the world for what it is. You can't sugarcoat stuff with me. There was a dude today in front of me, man. I was just looking at him for a minute. He was real tall, and he was just like it was crazy, man. Just his attitude, like he was just super arrogant, and like he just keeps on like I don't know, like talking super loud, and it's like folks like that, bro. I can't even be around, bro. Because it's like you don't understand anything about being humble. You don't understand anything about what real strength is, and you just walking around like you super entitled and this and that. I don't know what he was talking about. It was crazy. Like it really was. It was crazy. And he had his little fake chain on, and he was sitting there, the same thing, trying talking about, I want to be rich. Well, I mean, we all want to be rich, brother, but folks like you ain't never going to be rich because you don't understand the meaning of hard work and just being silent and getting putting that work in. You gotta work hard, brother. You can't just sit there and be talking loud all the time with everyone. And it's crazy because there's so-called women around and they tolerate that. Like, exactly. Exactly my point. The so-called women of today, I don't know what's up with them, and I don't know who they were at all or what their relationship was, and I don't care. But I'm just saying, like, for me, that stuff is like I can only tolerate it in doses, man. You can't even have me around dudes like that for real, because like it's just weird, man. Like, it makes me really want to say something. You know what I mean? Like, brother, you ain't it, bro. Like, straight up, bro. It's a lot of overcompensating, man. You know what I mean? And that's the thing with me. Like I'll be around and folks won't know who I am. You know what I mean? So they'll be acting some kind of way or whatever. It's like, you know what I mean? Like if folks should know at this point who I am. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. Like, I'm everything you want to be. Any of y'all dudes, understand that. I don't care where we at. You know what I mean? Real talk. All them dudes that in jail still or got out. That I knew or met. They all want to be me. Trust me, I know some of them got out because they said they were so obsessed they wanted to go see what I was doing on here, right? And they was jelly as hell too, and acting some way, in there. And it's like I know they probably got out and actually looked it up and said, "Oh wow," said this dude really is everything he said he was. You know what I mean? Like, and then just that they even more envious than jelly. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it was crazy. I heard Rob Rack for a minute today, and Rob Rack was sitting there as usual, being a walking contradiction, talking about exactly the same thing, but won't just give the acknowledgement. He want to talk about folks like Steph Curry. Steph Curry's a failure, bro, and he ain't that good at basketball in any way, shape, or form. So I don't know what you mean. All those people are puppets. You feel me? All of them. All them people are puppets. You feel me? So, I mean, that's the thing. And then you want to sit there and you want to say these things. That's what narcs do about other folks who haven't accomplished anything. Being in the NBA is not an accomplishment. It means nothing. You know what I mean? All that stuff, that's Monarch Mind Control and MK Ultra. That's what they're all under. They're not even free. They can't even think freely. So when you say, oh, well, if you don't have this and that, all the stuff you're describing is what Batman has. You know what I mean? That charisma, that attitude to keep going, that perseverance, that dominance, all that stuff is what Batman has. You understand? You just don't want to acknowledge it, but meanwhile, behind closed doors, you obsessed and you my biggest fan. Tell me when I'm lying. See my point? You know what I mean? That's the whole thing. Like I said, folks are hilarious to me. Absolutely hilarious. You know what I mean? But Merry Christmas, man. Merry Christmas, bro. What are you like 40, 50, 60 and you in a Roach motel room and homeless? Oh man. Things have been hard for you, brother. But yeah, and that's my whole thing. Like they actually be talking about these people and these things when it's like they're all puppets and it's all fake. That's why when people are like talking about this and that, I always expose the truth. All y'all's perceptions are jaded. You're not talking about reality. That's why we can't have a conversation. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there's one reality, there's one truth. I don't care how you try to express it or say this. Y'all have an excuse for everything. You have an answer for everything, and an answer for everything is an answer for nothing, buddy. And this is why I win every time because I actually will face reality and face the truth, no matter how hard or impossible it is. That God told me, he speaks through those Joker videos, and it said word for word, it said, you wanted the truth, so you got the truth. I told y'all the truth ain't always pretty. You understand? I got the truth, and that's the truth. I asked for the truth. Like, that's why when they tell me, like, this is what you prayed for, you asked God for this. I don't even remember half the time when I asked him for it, but I'm sure I did, and I know I did. I probably did when I was a little kid. You know what I mean? I probably asked to be Batman. God answered my prayers, bro. That's what people don't understand. For other people, they can feel whatever they want, believe what you want. I don't care what you believe. It will never affect me and what I believe. Just like I don't care what you say. I don't care what you think because I'm the champ. I'm the real champ, undefeated, 1,000,000 in the street, 10-0 in my own league. And there's nothing you can do or say that will ever change that. You understand what I'm saying? I'm the real deal. You know what I mean? Real talk. Like if Mike Tyson was in my presence, he would have to pay homage and give respect. I'm a real legend. That's what you got to understand. Them folks is just Masons. You know what I mean? Like real talk. I'm not saying I don't got respect. I respect people. I don't respect masonry, period, or masons at all. I'll tell you that. You know what I mean? I think Tyson's a mason. I can't respect him, and I don't respect that straight up. I respect folks that really know how to grind and hustle. I respect folks that really come up and it's hard, it's difficult. I respect, when it's not easy. I respect people that, live real life and go through real things. And none of them folks on your TV go through nothing. Everything is handed to them because they sold their soul. Y'all better wake up. And that's why y'all so concerned about every word and statement I make. Because again, you feel some way because the Masons can't only not catch up, but they ain't building nothing. They ain't building nothing and they can't create nothing because they could never hold a candle to me, ever. No matter how hard they try, no matter how many stories they make up and fabricate, you don't have anyone that can step forward that can come slightly close to me. And that's proven on camera every day. So what's up? I know you in your feelings. That's why I love it because they can't understand why I'm not affected. Why would I be affected when I know everything? Why would I be affected? You understand? By what people say? That's hilarious, bro. People talk every day, and every single person that I hear talk, they don't make any sense. You understand? That's the world today, and I have a feeling it's always been the way the world is. Honestly, it's the way the world run. And like 50 Cent said, I love it because we need people like y'all. Just like you need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your finger. You need people like me. And we need people like you because without folks like you, we wouldn't make all this money. I mean, we would. We gonna make it no matter what, but you all make it so much easier. Real talk, because everything you say makes no coherent sense and it just helps the effort. That's what they don't get. When you on what you on, right? And you have your little agenda and you feel some way or feel like you have any power, you don't. You're just helping me. Y'all my biggest fans. Y'all my number one promoter. Mhm. Mhm. Everything sent my way, God just sends something back in tenfold, and then He take care of me and protect me, and He bless me more every time. Every time these people who agents of the devil feel whatever way, right? Every single time they do anything, even make a slight move, anything, God is like, nope, you're good. I'm going to bless you more. Here you go. Here's more money, Ty. Here's more happiness. Here's more love. Here's more prosperity. People can't get the game mixed up and misconstrued because it's right in front of you, boss. So, like I said, I'm on a different level with it, man. You know what I mean? Real talk. And, I don't know how to even explain it to you. Like, it's a whole thing. When you really become like a ninja and a samurai, it's different. It's way different. Like, that's what I've learned. I've mastered the art of detachment. Okay. For real. It's incredible what God has done for me, how much God has taught me, and how He just continues to work on me and build me in front of my enemies, too. And trust me, they and they feelings. That's why they right here typing. How you doing? How are you coping with my success? Make sure you say hi. Hi there. How you feeling? Jellyfishes in the building. For real. Yeah, they just my fans. That's all they are. They just my biggest fans. Confused fans, but they're my fans. They always confuse, like real talk. It's ridiculous. They don't know whether they want they Wheaties or they Frosted Flakes. That's actually kind of a hard choice too, because I remember I used to eat them Wheaties every day for a little while, and they were all right. They're kind of grainy, you know what I mean? Frosted Flakes too just never was like a big thing for me, but I think they're pretty good. I grew up on Fruit Loops. I always loved Fruit Loops because that was one of my first memories when I was young. Was they took us in this place and they had all these little cereal things at it was in Austin where I grew up, and they were teaching me how to swim every day and stuff. It was pretty cool, and it was a cool little place. And I remember I'd get like goldfish or like Cheez Its. I'd go sit by myself in this little corner area that was like a patio with porches, and nobody would be over there. I don't know why I would go over there, or like if they tell me to, but I'd go over there by myself and I would just sit there and I'd eat my little Cheez-Its. And like I was good. I didn't need much. Like I was happy with my Cheez-Its. I still do the same thing today. I've been the same person my whole life. You know what I mean? So like that's the thing. Like I was always the person that would go get away from the crowd. I'll go do my own thing. That's why people like, oh, he lives in his own world. No, I live in this world. I think most of you, you live in your own world because it's always a jaded perspective and a jaded lens. It's never what it is. See, that was the thing with me. They noticed right away. Folks, I had my baseball coaches said that. They said, he sees things in you know what, meaning I see things for what they are. There is no gray area. There is no filter. I just see it for what it is. They noticed that about me when I was a kid, my own baseball coaches, and not just my dad, because my dad coached with his name was Licato. It was Scott Licato, and then the dad was like Jeff Licato. He's the one who wouldn't give me the game ball when I had the most, whatever for baseball on the team, and he wanted to lie, and I was crying and stuff, and my dad was just like, "It is what it is. You know that you won." You know what I mean? Like, cause he gave the game ball to him and he lied. All the hard work I did, and my dad counted them all, and I knew I had more, and he lied and said that whatever that his son Scott had more than me, just favoritism. He lied, just full face lie. So I was all crying and going through it. I'll never forget that memory, man. You know what I mean? Like that stuff was hard, bro. But my dad helped. He told me like you're the champion. You're the one who won. You know what I mean? So you know it. You know what I mean? So, but at the time we that's the thing. At the time, you look at it for what it is. You look at it different. Now I understand more. At the time, you just thought everything was about that game ball. You know what I mean? And you wanted that baseball because it said what it was. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. Like that's why so-called women be tripping me out so much because I've been winning. I used to win so many baseball games I wanted to lose when I was young. I mean, literally, like we would be driving around. I'd be in the back seat, and I would like think how I can lose the game because we couldn't lose. And even when I would try, we would still win. Like it was crazy, bro. Like I was so good at baseball at one point, I just couldn't lose. Like I don't know, I just kept winning no matter what. It was surreal, man, and then, same thing. Devil sent his little agents. Some stuff went down and happened behind closed doors, and I just was never the same. You know what I mean? I was the best pitcher in the league, and that stuff happened. They sent people to do a couple of things. Actually, it was about two times, two different things. And one of them, the dude got called to the principal's office for what happened, and the teacher, I think it was like Mr. Paulson or something like that. I know it's funny because it sounds like South Park or something, but it was his name. Like he was a good man and a good teacher, and he told the dude right in front of me. He said, "Do you understand what you just did? Like this was everything for this dude talking about me, and you just did what you did, and now." I mean, he has to, basically, I mean, because what happened to me was actually my tailbone because he just came out of nowhere. His name was Clayton Walters in middle school. And y'all don't get, I've been through so many things in my life, it's unbelievable. So when I went through what he did, because he just came out of nowhere. And that's all I gotta say. You already know. So, and it was like lunchtime, it was like recess. There was no need, no purpose. He was just somebody told him to do whatever, I'm sure. So, whatever happened, and I'm trying to get up, and I couldn't get up. I tried to get up and I did. I got up, but I already knew what it was. So it was the tailbone, right? So it's like I had to heal from that. And I did. And I came back and proved my point again. When I was on the basketball team, I think maybe the same year, it was pneumonia. I think it was walking pneumonia. And I came down with that. I think I kept playing in the games or something, and it was a year when I was finally better than everybody. Like I got better than Cameron Gibson, who was always one of the best in basketball. I got better than Steven Schaefer, Wade Lamb, and guess who? Nick Foles. So Nick Foles, who was the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFL, he was jelly of me, because I was so good at basketball. I got better than all of them. And then my team was like the Whale Wildcats, and we played against him, which was the Westlake Hoopsters. The Whale Wildcats should not be able to hold a candle to the Westlake Hoopsters. The Hoopsters were supposed to be one of the best teams in all of AAU, bro, across the country. And I'm telling you, I made them look silly, silly as hell. Okay. And my team didn't win because my team wasn't, anywhere close talent wise to me or anyone. But I had more points than anyone, okay, in that game. And I made them look silly on that court, bro. All of them. Wade Lamb, Steven Schaefer, Nick Foles, Cameron Gibson, all of them. And they were all on that team and all there that day. I was already like living elsewhere. I didn't even see him anymore and stuff. But yeah, I made him look silly, bro. And believe me, Nick Foles was in his feelings because I told him that. I told him either then or at a later time. I said, what are you talking about, bro? Like I literally made y'all look silly that day. Are you serious? Y'all couldn't come close. And he was like, no, you didn't. What do you mean? No, I didn't, brother. It happened right in front of everyone. Don't deny reality, brother. Made y'all look silly, homie. That's why you keep lobbing passes and you in the NFL. He's the same height he was in middle school when he was complaining because he couldn't even catch up to me in football. And I was the smallest one. I was the smallest kid in my middle school, bro. You know what I mean? He'd sit there and whine and complain. Like people with that attitude, it's crazy, man. And then they got folks on their team making up lies, giving him some fake nickname. Ain't none of that stuff true. It's the opposite. That's why y'all have to do that. That's exactly why they have like one wife and they have to stay with them because it's an arranged marriage and it's all fake. Because real so-called women ain't going to pursue Nick Foles. Because I mean, look at him. Are you serious? I mean, I don't think any woman is interested in that. Just keeping it real. Last I checked, if so-called women want to, deal with like a buck-tooth beaver, they go to the circus. Last I checked. You know what I mean? Who's like, like I mean, he ain't that tall. He kind of tall. Like you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like you folks is funny as hell, man. Y'all overcompensate for everything. That's the other thing I'll never understand about so-called women, why they think that size and being big matters or means anything. It doesn't even equate to any department you talk about or should be worried about. Do you understand that? It's totally the opposite, in fact. God makes men depicted for what they're supposed to be and who they're supposed to be. So someone like me, I'm made in God's image. I'm made perfectly for women. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. And it's been crazy how many of y'all missed out and passed out on the best thing walking. It's just the truth because it's look at them. I mean, their features are all weird. They got bow legs going on. They walking all weird, walking funny, uncoordinated. That's him. That's why he can't play in the NFL because he never was going to be the best or be good. Every time he flopped, every single time he folded. You understand? I don't care what none of y'all say. He's just like that one that was up there in Green Bay that they still want to talk about. How do you talk about a dude who didn't care about the Green Bay Packers and did nothing for you? See, the guy that the corrupt ones in Green Bay kept doing all this stuff, me, what they should have done is been treating me right. What they should have done is give me a spot on that team. That's what they should have done, but I'm glad you didn't because I don't want to play no football either way, especially for the Packers. I'm all right. I'd rather play for the Jacksonville Jaguars than ever play for y'all. Jacksonville is a better town from what I hear. It's a party town. It's a college town. I would have a whole lot of fun in Jacksonville. You know what I mean? That's what people don't get. Like, remember when I was telling you that when I was in Minneapolis, one of my goals was to be a running back in football. I don't know about that anymore after what I've been through. I think it's a really bad idea, but it's a dream of mine. It's a fantasy. It's not that I couldn't do it. I don't want to do it because, my health matters. You know what I mean? And that's the difference between a smart, real athlete and someone who's going to make huge mistakes. It's also the difference between having a future in sports and athletics for real and being the best and not being able to have a career or a future because you've just sustained too many whats or whatever because of football. That's the thing I learned, in football it's repetitive. That's the difference. When it's one thing like what I just went through and you have time and you're okay, you can heal. But when it's repetitive and it's repeated, that's when it becomes a major issue and a problem even more so. I'm telling you the truth, and those are the people, Steven Schaefer, Wade Lamb, Nick Foles, that literally, I'm just telling you the truth. Everything that the Masons do that I've depicted is what they were doing when we were in middle school. Okay. And that's why I told the story about everything that's happened. You understand? So that's what I mean. Like when, again, I'm going to say reality. I'm going to depict reality for you. You know what I mean? And like I said, I mean, I became better than everybody in my middle school at basketball, pretty much at everything. You know what I mean? And then I had my growth spurt when I was in like eighth grade, and I ended up springing up to like I think I was like 6'1", 6'2" already. I'm like 6'2", 6'3" now. You know what I mean? Something like that. I know I got over 6 feet. You know what I mean? And then I think I kept growing, developing. I'm a late bloomer. It took me a minute. I'm still developing. I could look at my body and see I'm still developing. I think I'm still filling out. My back is already ridiculous. I'm pure muscle. I'm just thin. You know what I mean? And that's what folks don't get. They underestimate real muscle. That's my whole point. So-called women are aloof to reality. They think that beta males are alphas and they think alphas are betas. That's why I don't waste my time. You understand? Because y'all will literally sit there and communicate and entertain simps and people who are not of any value or worth. And my deal is, why would I sit there and talk to you about it or say anything? Why would I care? You make your own mistake. Go make your mistakes and learn from them. And then you notice how every so-called woman is crying, whining, complaining later. Oh, this and that. Oh, well, I mean, you picked a Honda Accord as opposed to a Lamborghini that was standing right beside the Honda Accord. What in the hell were you thinking? Literally, not joking. I see them do it every day, especially down here. Down here, I mean, you know how they get down here and how they see things. So it's completely unfair and one-sided. So there's not even a competition here. I mean, I'm the best thing walking, and it would never matter, and I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I've just accepted it and I move forward. I haven't accepted it, but I'm just saying it is what it is. Like you kind of notice and see what it is, and you don't care, and you just go on about your business. You know what I mean? But other places, I mean, it's unfair everywhere, in my opinion. I go up to Austin, man, I see all them folks that be the same people doing the same stuff, and yet every single one of you got a living situation in Austin. But not a single one of you could open your door to me or give me a couch or anything. I'll contribute. That's a given. Like, none of them, not a single one of them ever helped me. When I was up there, I was asking everybody. Didn't nobody do nothing for me. And then they got the nerve and audacity to talk behind your back and say, oh, that dude right there, he's this and that, something that I'm not. I don't live in Austin. I carry a backpack because that's how I have to move. I don't have anywhere to go in Austin. And I carried a backpack because I had my laptop at the time and I'm a content creator. Makes perfect sense. And it worked perfect for me. What's wrong with having a backpack? Do you understand how naive and how crazy that is to even think that? There's people with backpacks down here. People don't say that or think that. Austin, folks in Austin are entitled. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. It's delusion. They don't have any grasp of reality. I mean, to think that it's a big deal to carry a backpack, I mean, that's just crazy, bro. You got to have a backpack when you travel. They can't comprehend the thought of already having everything and going out in the world on your own and venturing out and taking risks and chances to build more. Like, I'll do it again, gladly, happily, because what else would matter? Y'all don't get the point, do you? If I could just find somewhere to even put the bat suit and access it, like a locker or something, right? I'd be all right. Or if I have to pay for hotels and find a job and work so I can keep it consistent with the hotels. But that's the thing. Who the hell wants to do that again? That's what I have to do. You're working just so you can pay rent basically at hotels. Who wants to do that? I still stacked money with it, but it's like, it wasn't pointless. It worked out. Don't get me wrong. It did work, but that was a very lucky opportunity. I was blessed by God with that one. That opportunity was awesome. There was problems and issues, don't get me wrong, but it was awesome. And I'm very thankful for it. And it taught me a lot too. But I'm not saying I couldn't do it again. I'm sure I could find something good again, but I just don't know. There's a lot holding me back still, from all these people's lies and everything they've done. And, you know, I would just have to see, but my thing is, I don't know. I mean, I could go up there and try, you know. My thing is I'm more concerned about when I'm moving around in the street, because it's just common sense. I just know how Austin is. Y'all don't, but I do. I know how the streets are out there. And, I just don't want to deal with it. I'm tired. I've done it long enough. I'm older now, man. I'm 36 years old, bro. I'm gonna be 40 in 4 years, bro. I ain't trying to go back to that. And that's the thing. Like, if I just had a little help, if somebody said, yo, here's a spot, here's a couch, there's a fridge, you got what you need. You know what I mean? Do your thing. Be Batman. That's all I need. Nobody ever did that for me. That's crazy to me. How are we going to build or do anything if people can't help each other just a little? It's not even help, it's just normalcy. That's Southern hospitality. That's supposed to be a given. You know what I mean? People don't want to work together. Everybody's worried about themselves. That's why I'm like, that's the thing. If I go up to Austin, I want to make sure it doesn't turn into me just trying to survive in Austin. That's the point. I don't want to get distracted and get away from what I'm doing here. And that's the way they make it because folks are like TJ. You saw TJ was being fake the whole time. He didn't want to see me win. He was a secret enemy. And the readings was telling me about a secret enemy. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, we gonna get to that, brother. He put some basketballs in the chat. Yeah, but and I mean we gonna get back to that too. I mean that's a money maker, the street ball, and I could definitely do that in Austin, I'm sure. But I don't know, man. It's just I just know how things are now, and I'm getting smarter, So I want to make sure I do things the right way. That's all. So I'm gonna get going, man. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for listening to me. Like I said, much love to everybody. Again, customized videos, $25. If any of y'all want them, it's still Christmas technically. Well, kind of a little over, but it's the same thing. But we do them all the time, man. It ain't just for Christmas. So anything y'all want, just let me know. Holla. Pay the $25 and we'll go from there. And that's the same thing for anything. Advice, help build businesses. We do everything over here. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I'll talk to you in a minute, man. Much love. Merry Christmas. And that's it. All right. Talk to y'all in a minute, man.